Yeah, so got my lucids done. I did pretty good across the PAs as well as on Apex for the company. So we got stuff done really early today. It was pretty good. And so that was an awesome setup. For those that are in the mentor group as well as in the development side of it, right? You guys have seen these type of structures before, right? Where we get those drops and those reclaims. The other important thing was the fact that we came into the prior day low, we did a little stop hunt with it, and then the reclaim usually pushes up. So, a couple things to watch for on open. This is going to be critical because we don't really know right yet, but we know that with this reclaim is big. We know that we have a push. We know that we're kind of bull flagging and we're pushing. If this creates this higher high, right, we're going to get some pretty significant pressure to the north. So we know that the market has had a pretty good sell-off. That's going to probably energize a lot of traders to take those shorts because majority of the market or the world has been waiting for a big retracement. I talked about this yesterday. You guys remember when I was on that I don't know that I think we're going to get a crash that people think, right? Not yet. But I had talked about this yesterday. For those that recall, when we were up here, right, as we kind of came through the Sunday, we had the drop, the lower high. Why that's actually critical is where we rejected, we tried to hold support on that 500. Remember I told you all the market loves round numbers. We came down, rejected off of that, came back down. We reclaimed it, still couldn't get past that 500 this time, came back down. We ended up in a head and shoulders, into another head and shoulders. And it's about as bearish as that structure gets, right? So this pull doesn't surprise me. When I was talking about this yesterday from a 1 minute standpoint, over here, we'll put on the 5 to make it easier. When we start to reject off of that, right, my expectation was that we would get into this range. And so we got there a little faster than I thought we would. But we got there. Now, we may not be done, right? We don't want to be overly excited, but we know that as this pushes into this bearish structure, a lot of the times these begin to kind of create big the beginning of descents, right? So now the market's going to at times push up. We might even do it in open to try to see if we're going to test that neckline, right? If we come up here and test this neckline anywhere up here and we harsh reject, really anywhere below this kind of 367, you know, it's going to confirm a possible early read into a longer play descent, right? And so very careful in this range, guys. I put a little green box here. We were talking about this in the mentor group. Oh man, I'm gonna move that on accident. Oh well. For me to take a long, right, I kind of want to get above here with some structure and stuff, and you know, Neo through his guidance and stuff, right? I want to kind of get out of there because otherwise, this simply could be a pull, push, right, fail on these lows, and then we reclaim that low, and then we sweep south. I think it's a very dangerous range. I was actually joking about it. I have it recorded. Yeah, you crack me up, Cody. The the when we were kind of down here, I always have this kind of running joke where I'm like, dang, if I was a market maker, I'd do this, right? And I love saying that because I don't say it often, but when I do say it, it tends to work pretty good. And so you guys in my mentor group, man, you guys can keep me honest with the old thumbs up if you're able, right? When we were down here, I was like, man, if I was a market maker, I would close this thing, bring it up, and I would stop it right there before I open. Isn't it crazy? Like we're literally 3 minutes from open and we're right there. So I don't know. Maybe I'll apply one day. No, no. The yeah. So you know because it puts it in a tough range, right? Now you have longs that are still trapped likely, and if they didn't get wrecked already. And now you have shorts that are trapped, right, on that. And so it just now open, they got to decide. Are we going to sweep high and just move all the way back in a full reclaim or a reclaim up to here? Mind you, if you come to the 5, right, a reclaim to here would be pretty close to a halfway reclaim, right? It would be somewhere in there of this fall. So it'd be a fall, halfway reclaim, drop, right? And then from there we can drop or go back up. So I think today poses a lot more risk. I'm really glad that we got a good Asia session mixed with a good pre-market session because most of us, I think, are pretty done because it's going to be a little dangerous. I'm going to do the best I can to guide you guys through it as well as we have Neo. to try to guide you guys through it. So, um, and so, but it's going to be a little tricky, I think, today, because if you think about where we are, we have just as much risk of coming up to here as we do of coming back down to here. And we don't really know, right? Because all we really know is that we have a very, very bearish structure that played out, which was within anticipation. We know that this is our prior high. Interesting. I don't know if it's quite the same. I had a little pause there because for a brief moment, Cody, I always love your insight on this. The push down, push, double top, kind of rounded, pull, look familiar? It's not.
That it is very close
It's
to.
close. I didn't even notice it until now. It just kind of. It's pretty
Nick,
close.
you know that setup you said, we see this all the time, and you showed us the last couple of times it's happened. That is exactly on the COTS data. If anyone wants to look at it, it's crazy because like, that's the setup Nick points out.
Yeah,
Which is
it's
a blow top.
yeah. I mean, we'll see how open treats it, right? But if it is going to play that setup out, so what makes this a little different? Why I'm a little hesitant to say that this is gonna blow up is because if this was going to be that same setup, it likely would have came here, right, and found a higher low somewhere in there. Then it would have blew off top, right? The fact that we lost these highs changes it a little bit for me. Not quite the same, but it's pretty close, right? If we hold a high anywhere above this like 016 and we reclaim these lows, then yeah, it's gonna be a full blow off top, guys. Like, this is gonna go. I don't think it's the same though, because the way, I mean, it's very similar, right? But I think it's not the way that's acting on that. So, but we'll see. Now, when you look at it again, we're getting that push and then pull. I think that to find real strength, it really needs to come into kind of this pocket here, maybe even a retest there, arguably even a retest over here, right? Like maybe it does like this and then this and then this and then comes down, taps it, and then it goes straight, right? Now if we break this yellow and this blue line here and this kind of purple one, like that's gonna be really, really bearish on that. So kind of a critical range for me while I'm looking at this is going to be somewhere in here. If you guys wanted to sort of box it in, right? It's going to be something like that. Because if you think about it, if you extend this box out like this, we're capturing resistance, some support within there, quick moves within it. Anywhere in this box, I think, is going to be a little dangerous, and it's pretty wide. It's $140, right? So you can still scalp. If we break out of here, arguably I would prefer it to get out of here, right, above that 179, then it's going to come up for this neckline. If we break out of it kind of more southern here, then it's going to come down for this low. So anything in between, you can micro scalp, but just know it's pretty dangerous, right, on that. So we'll watch it through. Neo, his first guidance is more bullish, not bearish, but he doesn't want to take a long until you get above 171. So he's calling it pretty high, which is funny because that's actually really close to what I have. See that? I was saying I don't want to take a long until I get above there, and that's what he had called. So guys, let's look at the candles real quick as we're going in. We are in a push, micro push with a big pull. If this holds a higher low into an absorption to the north, the next candle closes above, it's going to be a big push. Really big, actually. So we're getting a lot of bullish pressure. I think as bullish as we've been, it wouldn't be a bad thing for us to push a little bit in order for us to, kind of come up and test that neckline, right? Because now we got to balance halfway liquidity. From there, it can jump down or we can go up. You guys can see the trap here. The area ended up playing out. This was when the trap place called. This trap area, it hit almost perfect and then jumped up. We're getting another 1 minute one there as well. But we do have some pretty critical things that we have to look for, right? As we, as we see this kind of push and pull battle going on. So let's kind of watch that. and see. So we're getting a little rejection. We're still absorption to the north though, right? So we have, oh wait, this is on the 5. That's even crazier that that's on the 5. I hate when I change those time trains, right? Because I gotta remember to put it back. So this is actually bigger. So if we close on the 5 up here, right, and then we get any kind of close on the top of that, it's going to be a really big push. We know that we're on top of Lisma, holding it. It did try to breach Lisma. It couldn't breach it, and now we're pushing in the absorption of it, right? And so definitely doesn't scream short, right, yet. Screams more northern, which is interesting why he says none there, which is really cool. So he's on par with my thoughts. Now we have some room that we need to get through, for sure, before I would think we're going to go full board north, right? But pressure's still a little more northern. Let's see if the micro is doing what it should be doing. So we got dojis, breachway close above there, right? Should sweep us. This is like crazy OA too, guys. That's crazy. You see that? If we get above these prior areas, right? Somewhere up in this range, which would be like that 181, 171 that he was talking about. If we get up into that range, right, there's really nothing stopping us, guys. So let's see if this has got the juice to push it through. So he's saying long entry option. Now, mind you, it's open, right? So it's moving fast. So I want to see how he interprets this. He wants confirmed breakout retest of the resistance at 129. That was, let me look at that. Targeting the 161. Yeah, so by the time, when did he call that one? 35. Yeah. Again, it's market open, guys. So his call played out, right? But it was already happened kind of quickly. So what I'm going to do, because as I continue to modify him, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it in. And what I'm going to do is I want to start to do, we'll do sessions / opening bell, just to remind myself. I want to look at it because I want to start introducing to him market open, right? Hey, this is market open. This is a very volatile time. You know, be careful on your calls, kind of thing, right? But I can see as of now the pressure is a little more northern than southern, so be really careful trying to short this. We're also coming out of our prior daily low, which typically is not very short, right? So now it's going to be critical for us to break out of this range. You guys can see we're still trying to fight that range. Once we break out of that, it should move pretty well, but it's still fighting it, right? We still run the risk of a pull. So always remember a market open, the behavior that it does is it likes to sweep one way, sweep the other way, and then kind of stay internal, right, until you get a breakout. So the fact that we swept here, swept low, and where we swept into a bullish reversal candle tells me, you know, we're more long than short. So, but let's see how he goes, right? We got to get above here, 181. So we can see that we're doing some pretty good bullish things so far. This is a very bullish thing because we reclaimed the low, pushed up, you know, that broke out. We swept this with a higher low, came up. This, where this lands is huge, guys. It's got to come up with a higher high. If this sweeps a lower low or a higher low, and this can get up into that higher high, right, then we're confirmed, you know, push. Plus that's going to give us our hammer to the north, right? And there's not a lot stopping us once we get up in that range, guys. There's just not a lot stopping it. So, but if we don't break that, we run the risk of a decent sweep back, right? Because it's market open. So let's just kind of watch it. See how it's just kind of, my area high there that I marked is playing out pretty well because we are getting a pretty good rejection from it. Long, he's talking about 120. Oh, that was earlier. No, yeah, he's got 2 more minutes. I'm going to unmute him so when he talks, I'll give him a minute to talk. Remember, guys, in market open, it's very fast moving. So he's going to make his calls, but you just got to know that it's market open, right? So by the time he makes his calls and analyzes it, it might have already played out. So if you want to know kind of how to read this stuff, you want to kind of be in the development program or in the mentor portion of it. So, but we're still getting the pressure. We did breach that high. You guys know from the sessions that we do, this prior high matters. As long as we stay above that high, maybe this high arguably, that shows strength, not weakness, right? Any kind of breach below that is going to show some weakness. But we are actually, in 1 minute, if we can get that body above 63, it's going to be pretty bullish. I would not be surprised if they don't sweep it a little bit just because it's open. So just be careful. But the DOM pressure is definitely more northern than southern right now. So let's watch and see. I'm just kind of watching the DOM because we are above the 200, right? We are kind of in that flat bottom from there, but we're losing that flat bottom. Again, I would love to get this close above there. We got 9 seconds to do it. Looks like it might fall a little bit short, but we want this 200 to hold as a retest, at least 141. If we hold above that, it's going to jump. For a push to a pull back to there, for that to still jump is still fine, right? But I want to see how much strength it has. If it has strength, it should not break below here. It just shouldn't, right? And so let's see. That's where it's trying to fight right now. A lot of support within here, but again, for us to come back halfway into here,
the market
is possible.
has successfully reclaimed the 1-minute EMA 200 at 27,161.50, effectively shifting the short-term structure to bullish as price now holds above this critical pivot. This break, supported by a positive slope in the 1-minute Lisma and sustained green candle progression, suggests a potential test of higher liquidity zones despite the prevailing macro bearish trend, sentiment, bullish pressure, confidence. 7 out of 10. Reason. Price has cleanly broken and held above both the 1-minute EMA 200 and the anchored VWAP at 27,112.75, confirming a short-term trend shift. The alignment of the 1-minute Lisma and 15 seconds EMA suggests that bullish momentum is currently outweighing the localized overhead. Supply concerns. The proximity to the macro 5 minutes EMA 200 of 27,309.75 and the bearish macro context indicate that this rally could be a corrective move or a liquidity sweep, a failure. To hold above the recently broken 1-minute EMA 200 would negate the bullish thesis and signal a likely return to lower price levels. Long entry option. A confirmed breakout and retest of the current local high at 27,184.5.
See his long plan out, guys.
Resistance at 27,240.50. Invalidation at 27,150.0. Short entry option. None. Summary. The market is,
Guys, do not try to short this top, please.
playing of key moving averages, signaling a potential move toward higher resistance levels. Traders should prioritize long setups while keeping a tight stop to account for the overall bearish macro environment.
Yeah, we're pushing up, right, like I expected. So do not short these tops because this can go much, much higher. So now at some point we may get a sweep, but the bullish pressure that I was identifying is playing out, right? So we have to can't negate it, right? And so be careful. I don't know. Anybody taking that long up there? I mean, that was kind of his long.
I'm done for the day.
Oh yeah, I took that on mine too. So this might be a good day, guys. This is gonna be a good day, man. It started
You
out.
need to stop trading. What are you doing?
Look, I told you I was stopping for pre-market. It's like a whole different day. No. So what I do, as you know very well know, Cody, is I will take some additional minor risks within profit that I've earned, right? And so I took in a few scalps, and so between the two, now I'm at 45. So that would be about $4,000 deposit today because those are rapids. So now I'm going to pause a little bit. I'm just piggybacking them, right? So the way I do this, guys, is I treat it is I have this one, and then now you see I'm on this one. I'm on 84, so I'm going to just take a little risk on that one, then I'll take a little risk on that one, then I just piggyback it. But that one to me was pretty clear. So I was still doing one NQ on that, even in open. Remember I told you guys I don't always do the same volume. It depends on the trade, the structure, the movement, my confidence, what I see going on. This was a pretty clear, easy read because remember we talked about it that is anybody in a trade? Y'all shouldn't be. Please don't short this top. Can we retrace? Absolutely. This is not really that worth it because we can definitely we can dump and we can definitely push a lot higher. So nobody's in trade. Okay, good deal.
Any thoughts on re-enter?
The what?
Do you have any thoughts on re-entering?
Not yet. I'm gonna go over that right now. So that's why I want to make sure nobody's in a trade so we can reassess this. So one of the things that you guys want to always do when you're trading, right, is you want to always, when you've had a good move, a good session, a good profit, right, especially if you have a guaranteed payout with it, you always want to just take a pause, guys, just reassess. Because the problem is, and you guys even see with me on it, it's like, oh, this should go here. Got the hammer, Lisbon, we're going up. Here it goes. It keeps going. Yeah, we're going. Look at this. It's going. Like, you see how you build that, like, tunnel vision, if you will, sort of, especially with newer traders. And so even for me, guys, the experienced type trader, where you want to just take a pause, let's just reassess, because I don't want to chase something too long. We cannot ignore. I'm going to mute Neo, so you guys will have to click on him if you want to listen to him or read it. But we cannot ignore the fact that from an overall structure standpoint, we are still, right, in a bearish structure. All this is a bearish structure breakout, and we're retesting it like I thought we would. Now, that retest can carry us as high as 303 or so. I'm going to probably mark that area if you guys want to mark it. Anything that gets close to that, y'all should stay out, because we are just a bearish break retesting. That could easily hit that and just floor us all the way down to where I thought we would go within the trend line, right? Now, if we breach this, and I don't know that it's close enough that I would call it the structure that I've been calling, but it would be pretty freaking cool, huh, Cody, if this thing just went freaking parabolic. Because it's close enough it could be, but not close enough that I'm like, yep. So
Yeah, that would be wild. I'd like to see it.
I do too. So that's why I'm telling y'all, just be careful shorting this top. Be careful shorting this top, because if that structure is in play, this move could be just nasty on the reclaim, right? We don't know, right? This could is this the top, and we're going to begin a descent, or is this that same structure I keep reading? It's not perfect on it, so I don't know, right? But it, as of right now, we're just breakout reclaim, right? So this is going to be a critical area, that 303 area. Again, you guys know how I like it. I'm going to delete this box here and this one as well. I like to always kind of look at what the micro is doing and interpret it from the macro. So let's put the indicators back on. Again, I'm not in a trade right now. I may not take a trade for a little bit, right? Because it's been a really good day. And so when we look at the macro, right, and the micro. What's up, ML? Man, I see you. Welcome. You got caught. You got your camera on there, man. Looking good. ML's in the mentor group, man. I always love hanging out with ML. You got the pole here. We got the bull flag, and it's trying to play out. We also have hammers that are trying to play out. As you guys know, this needs to hit here, push up to there with some steam, and then hold these highs. The higher that goes, the more strength it shows. I definitely think we got some more room to go up. But again, the micro needs to continue to do things that the macro is supporting. Now, we know what our concerns are, is we have a gap filled down here. Those love to get filled. They just do. So it wouldn't surprise me if this bull flag fails, right? Trapping people that are trying to chase these longs, and then come down, smack that gap fill, right? And then from there, it's going to decide, are we going to hold support on these prior highs and then we're going to the moon, or are we going to collapse it and just do a full straight breakdown? Guys, you got to take a step back when you have a good stretch of wins, because you want to always reanalyze it, right? You don't want to be stuck in tunnel vision, especially in market open, man, because market open, this thing could just never come back, right? Or this thing could just absolutely floor. So we've all seen it, 100, 200 points in like a minute, not even a minute. So you got to just still be aware of it, right? And so now we know that we do have the bull flag. It is trying to play out. We did get the breakthrough. There it is. This strength is critical. If this breaches here, right, if it can breach it and pull back and come back up, that close right there, it's pretty OA for us to take another continuation play. So looking like it's pretty strong. We know that on the 1 minute, I'm not going to take a trade right now on this because I think it's getting too close to an area that can heavily reject. So I'm not interested in shorting this top, but I'm not interested in taking the long right now because we're just getting too close to that 303, right? Arguably, there's enough room for the way that I trade it right now, but it's just not worth it to me to give up such a good day already, right, for that. So we do know that we did get the micro absorption to the north. We are above Lisma. We did get the close above it right there, so that usually gives us expansion. So it all suggested, but see the sweeps that are starting to happen, the failures. Being market open, this is what they do, right? They bait you into that kind of bullish move, and then they like to sweep it to the gap fill, right? And kind of wipe all those longs. And that's why I want to I need to let this settle, right? So we can, while we're letting this settle, we can watch Neo, and we can see what he wants. He is in guidance with what I have been saying is no shorts. He wants a retest of the breakout area of the 200, right? So that was 45. That was back here. And so we actually did. We retested it and it played. So if you followed Neo's guidance, it worked out. He wants a pullback to the 1 minute Lisma now, which would be here before you go long, and holds targeting the macro level above. So he's saying he wants you to come back here, get some kind of doji, get a confirmed push back above. He's not interested in continuations, right? He wants more of a pullback. He's got the ability to decide, does he want to allow or see an opportunity for a continuation play, or is it an area that he would prefer a pullback play, right? So he has that ability to make that decision. Sometimes he does both, right? You guys have seen that. But right now he says he don't like taking this long. He wants a pullback. Isn't it kind of hilarious, guys? I mean, I'd love to know from you guys in the community. My goal was to get him to coach like I do. Isn't it funny that he, in a sense, kind of just said what I said? It's pretty cool, right? You know, because I was literally just telling you guys that I would not short this. He says short none, and I would not take a long here because I think we have a risk of a pullback. And he's like, don't take a long unless you get a pullback. I'm like, this dude.
Yeah, he's on it. He's on it, man.
This dude. Oh man. So it's pretty cool, man, to watch. I have about 7 or 8 additions or modifications I want to do, but I hesitated doing it because I want to give him enough time to just see if he self-corrects, right, on some of these things.
Yeah.
No, I think Alex is probably building it. I keep telling him, you might want to get on this, man, because he learning this quick.
Yeah, I think he's ready.
Yeah.
He's calling it really good.
That's
telling you exactly where to enter, pretty much. So
it's crazy, isn't it?
I'd like to see if every one of these that he calls like plays out. If he took every trade, I'd like to see that. Yeah.
And so the hard part is especially in open, right? Is even when he trades or we allow him to trade, I might have him bypass open. Because by the time he reads it, if you notice, you got to interpret it like the one that he read that played out, but it was like the entry was way down. You got to understand when he reads it, like here, 950. If you go to 950, right there on that candle, he only sees what's back here. He can't see what's going while he's talking. He only sees what he's seen in the analytics, right? And so, but that's why we're trying to, and I think we've successfully tried, so far anyways, to get him to be more anticipatory, right? One thing I want to look at, well, when did he call this? Hold on. At 50. Okay, he's right. So remember on the moving averages, right? So he said he wanted a break of the Lisma at 189. That was there, but that's when he called it, right? So now the break of Lisma is more or the retest is up here at 200. But in a nutshell, he's just telling you, hey, think of it as like I want to pull back to Lisma, right? So we got to pull back to Lisma. It actually broke it, so we do not have a successful pull. Remember I was telling you I would not take longs up here. I hope none of you are stuck in a long. Because this gap fill thing is pretty sick, right? And I would expect that we're going to likely get that push, the pull back down to here, and then it's going to test these highs. If we test these highs and we get a successful push, right, then it's just going to explode. But there is a huge risk, which is why I'm staying out, because I have no interest in shorting this right now. There's a huge risk of this failing really low, that if this comes down with some steam, right, it's going to hit that and just absolutely shatter, right? Because then it's a bear trap into a push, which is into a bull trap into a sweep south. So we don't know yet, right? We got to wait for those confirmations. So, but we know that we are within market open. You know, we're outside of ORB, but we're within market open, right? So we can definitely see some kind of pull here, and the pull could be deep, right? So the only way that I would take a long off of this, right, which would be a prior high hold into the 200 with the gap fill cleared, would be as if my micro supports it, right? I want a push, breach wick here, close above, and then I would consider taking something. Anything short of that, we did get a trap call. Oh, that's actually sick. I didn't even see that. Man, I don't, Paul, I need to, did we ever set up an alert on this damn thing? I feel like I need an alert so it like beeps at me. I don't know. Let's see. Add this indicator. No, that's not it. Maybe we didn't set up an alert. No, we didn't set up an alert. We need an alert on this like pronto. Because I miss it so much. I'll be like, dang, we're dumping. Look at this. Oh, it called the trap like 30 minutes ago. Shit. Because I'm mostly focused in here, right, when I'm doing my TA. But see this poll, guys, is why I said just sit out. I have not taken anything since. I'm already still there. Just haven't done nothing, right? I'm just waiting. Because I don't like this. Now, if you guys are more short, right? The setups were there, but I didn't like it. Remember, you don't have to take every move. So, for his short, he wants a contained sustained break below the 168, which we have currently. So with that, now we have a break. You would take the close there, which would take your short back down to there. I'm not going to take it because I think there's some room in here that can definitely spring us. But to me, the strength right now is more bearish, so it likely is playing out. And you can see it is actually, because your close would have been there at 154, and you got down to 140. It's like almost $20 move, right? So that call would have played out if you were quick on it. Remember, guys, Neo is mostly in scalping mode, so he's going to give entries that give you, 20 to 30 point moves. You can get more out of it if you trail it, right? But that's mostly what he's looking for right now, more scalping. The long, he wants a confirmed bounce and hold at the 1 minute EMA, targeting that. Okay, so when did he call this? 55. Okay, so he called it there because his terminology on bounce and hold, right? I was gonna question, but so see how we're getting the push here on that. So that's a pretty big push reclaim. It's right off of the 141, which is my 1 hour line that I have marked. So that was almost perfect within that. So let's see if we get a deeper push, right, from within. That's a pretty big reclaim, guys, off of an area that should have reclaimed, right? So let's see if we get a retest back up to Lisma at that 203. When this does that breach wick close above, that almost guarantees we're going to get there. Whether or not we breach wick it, right, is going to be the question. So, but let's see. So if we zoom out a little on the micro, we do have a lot of ceiling here. That's where it's stopping, right? We need to breach that, otherwise it runs the risk of another pull, right? So look at the trap indicator, is just going absolutely crazy. It doesn't know what to do. The trap indicator is like trap north, trap south, trap north. That doesn't tell you that they're about to do something crazy. I don't know what does. So let's watch and see, guys. We need where this holds. The down pressure is still more northern than southern. See that? So I took that one quickly because that one met one of the qualifications. So his qualification for that long, right, was he wanted to see bounces and holds on that 200. Well, that was right there, right? And so we got that pressure. We're getting the doji, the close. Be careful going long too close into this Lisma. I want to see how this breach wicks it. Let me look at something here, guys. See how this is, guys, this does not really show a lot of bearish strength if we're going to get two absorption hammers, depending where this closes. That's why I keep saying be really careful shorting this. I mean, we got to break some levels still, but if this closes way up there in 40 seconds, right, that's not really screaming super bearish. So let's see if we get the pressure. So I want to see what this does near there. So we're getting pressure, plenty of pressure in it. Guys, if you're newer, please don't get emotional within these trades, because I know that the FOMO can kick in and you're going to find yourself jumping in too quickly and you might get in a tough time, right? Wait for your confirmations. If you look here, we got a breach wick, but the safer play, right, would be to get a close above that to give you the OA. Anything short of that runs the risk of a deep pull, right? And so we got to be careful. This doji is huge. If we stay above that high of that doji into a doji, it's going to show more strength than weakness. We did close into another absorption. So you can literally take, for those that in the development class, you guys know this, you can take this low and you can take this high. Like that. So we're internal within that. If we break above two absorptions to the north, guys, that's more bullish than bearish, right? Now, if we end up coming down and we break below that, that's full collapse. So we know that we are above 5-minute Lisma. That is right there. This could come down and tap that. It's well within range. Let's see what Neo says. I'm going to let him talk for a second.
100 at
I'll be back one second, guys.
27,169.25 and the 1-minute Lisma at 27,207.25, effectively nay. Aiding the previous correction and signaling a return of bullish control, this rapid recovery above critical moving averages, supported by a positive LS. MA slope reinforces the bullish outlook as price once again probes the higher end of the recent range. Sentiment, bull. Ish pressure, confidence, 7 out of 10. Reason, price has consolidated and pushed back above the key confluence of the 1-minute EMA, 201-minute Lisma, indicating that the buying interest at lower levels remains active and capable of absorbing supply. The transition back to a green high Kinashi candle state provides immediate validation of the renewed buying momentum. Concerns. The proximity to the recent highs near 27,249.25 means the market is quickly returning to a zone that previously triggered a sharp correction. Expect volatility as price tests this ceiling, and avoid aggressive long entries if price fails to clear these highs with conviction. Long entry option. A confirmed breakout and hold above the recent high at 27,249.25, targeting the macro resistance at 27,305.25. Invalidation at 27180.0. Short entry option. None. Summary.
None.
The market has regained its footing after a brief dip. Confirming that the short-term bullish trend remains the path of least resistance, participants should look for a clean break of recent highs to confirm the next phase of expansion while maintaining disciplined risk management near established macro resistance.
Guys, so see my worry on that, right? You always want to watch out for the, oh, I don't even know what I just clicked. What did I do? That just changed my entire symbol. What did I just push? I was so confused. I had to do the whole deer in the headlights there for a second, guys. All right. Again, right? This is why we watch the micro. We have a lot of bullish things going on, but we could not get a break strong enough through that technical, right? Now we're coming down to retest something into what would be another potential bullish setup. But again, guys, we're still internal. We're just getting bounces off of our 200. The 5-minute is doing more bullish things, but we definitely run the risk of pulling down. But again, it's still doing more bullish things than bearish things, right? And so we don't want to kind of negate that right within. So now we're kind of in a squeeze area, I think. So be really careful because, again, if you think about this, right, we have a push here. This is our internal. We're still internal from that last absorption. We haven't really broken out up or down. I love his guidance because he's still saying I wouldn't short this, which is what I'm telling you. But he's also telling you, notice his long guidance was way extended. He don't want you taking a long until you're up here. So you guys notice how he does that? Sometimes his entries are quick or close, and sometimes it's like, I wouldn't short this, but I damn sure wouldn't touch a long until we get way up here, right? And it's really not terrible guidance because if you think about it from the logic of the way that I trade it, right? Here's our ORB, upper, lower. Anytime that sets up, we run into below the half. This runs the risk of coming all the way back down or at least sweeping this low before it pushes back up unless we can get a deep break through that ORB. So for him to identify that and say, hey, it's not really dangerous or not really safe here to continue to push on your longs, it's kind of smart because although our 5 minute is very bullish setup, right, we're running into some pretty deep resistance. You know, you got a VWAP within here. We know we're internal within those two. We have a 1 minute Lisma that we're below, which tends to pull us down. We have the 5 minute that's here, right, which tends to be more bullish, but we can retrace. There's things here that suggest we can sweep that low, right? So it's not really wise to keep pressuring your longs until we get a full breakout at the ORB, right? Or you get a deep pullback within. So I'm not in a trade right now. I only took one other quick scalp on one NQ. So other than that, I haven't
The market
taken anything. So
is currently struggling to sustain the reclaim of the 1 minute EMA 200 at 27,170.25, with price oscillating around this pivotal level after a failed push toward previous highs. The conflicting signals, a green high Kinashi candle coupled with a localized rejection from higher levels, suggest that the current bullish recovery is losing steam as price re-enters the congestion zone. Sentiment, bullish pressure. Confidence, 4 out of 10. Reason, while
Ooh,
price
he flipped
holds
a
above
none
the
on
1 minute
long.
EMA 200, it has slipped back beneath the 1 minute Lisma of 27,211.75, indicating that short term selling pressure is increasing. The inability to expand away from the moving average support zone suggests that buyers are currently tentative. Concerns. A sustained close below the 1 minute EMA 200 would represent a failure of the current recovery attempt, likely triggering a slide back toward the anchored VWAP at 27,128.50. This
I'm going to mute him, guys. So remember, when he says long none, and here he said short none, his his long entry is still in play until it invalidates. So you had to get the close below 180, which we never got it, right? So anything pushing there, he's saying, hey, we're long. Same thing on the short, right? He wants a confirmed close below the 200. So now he's saying, hey, we're long here, we're short there. It's kind of what I would tell y'all, right? His invalidation zone for his short would be 211. We actually mostly invalidated that, right? See right there. So you can see where his invalidation. So I love that he's adding these invalidations. That was something I purposely wanted in there. So pretty cool to see that. So again, guys, you know, we have the pull. We are getting support. We are breaching through. There's our breach wick. Close above would likely give it pretty good steam, right? But again, the macro supports more northern for sure. We don't really have heavy resistance now where we are until pretty much all the way to 303. Right? Now, if you come to here, we have a little bit there. A breach wick, close above there would give us really crazy OA. I'm not sure that I'll trade that one just because we're getting really close to where I think that the overall structure is bearish. This is a break reclaim of a lot of critical levels, and anything that stays below 303 can run the risk of absolutely flooring again. So one thing that we talked about briefly, which I don't think it's perfect, but it was pretty close, is this might be a similar structure to the one that we've seen kind of false breakdown and then reclaim and a blow off top. It's possible, but it's not as clean as I like it to be to where I would say, yeah, that's going to happen. But it definitely caught my eye, right? So that's why I'm not interested in taking any shorts. I will wait for some pulls. I've had a good enough day that if it just begins to flip and we go more southern, I'll just stay out. So, just looking at something real quick. Yep. So, any questions, guys? I know it's already 10:10, but shoot, man, between the pre-market and this, how are you guys doing? Everybody green through this? Throw a thumbs up or toss your P&Ls in the chat. I'd love to hear who's green. And if you didn't take any trades, guys, this is a very, very, very wild day. But these are the days that more experienced traders love because the moves are a little more clear, right, on it. Duff, killing it, man. Kevin, 400, awesome. Duff, 649.
Yeah, today would have been like passing the Evo.
Yeah. Yeah, today, guys, is the day that y'all train for because I knew that the volatility was going to be there. John 820, that's a killer, man. The volatility was going to be there, right? But the pre-market, man, we crushed it and everything played out as it should. It was like, this should do this, this should do this. I mean, you think about how I'm anticipating. I was like, hey, we're likely going to stall and come back to here. And we did. This likely is going to possibly hold on the 1 hour support level I have. It did. The reclaim there should push us up. It did, right? Same thing here, right? We don't want to chase it. Anything that fails to create a higher high within here, right, is going to be met with a pretty deep sweep, probably even a lower low. And so there's
The market has
little
successfully
unpredictable.
defended the support confluence at 27,172.75, confirming the bullish bias as price aggressively rotates back above the 1-minute Lisma at 27,218.50. This structural reclaim demonstrates persistent buying interest and positions the market for a renewed test of the previous session highs, with the short-term technical indicators now aligning in favor of further upside expansion, sentiment, bullish pressure, confidence. 7 out of 10. Reason. Price has reclaimed the 1-minute Lisma and maintains a position above the 1-minute EMA. 200. Confirming that the dip to 27,170.0 was a successful liquidity test. The positive slope of the 1-minute Lisma and consistent green high Kinashi candles support the case for continued momentum. Toward the macro ceiling, concerns. The proximity to the recent swing high at 27,249.25 and the macro 5 minutes EMA 200 at 27,303.50 creates overhead supply that may trigger profit taking. Traders should manage positions actively if price stalls near these levels, as the macro trend remains cautious until a clean break of the 27,300.0 zone occurs. Long entry option. A breakout and hold above the recent local high of 27,232.25, targeting the structural resistance at 27,303.50, invalidation at 27,172.75. Short entry option. None. Summary. The bullish trend has regained momentum after a successful test of key support, and the market is now primed to challenge recent resistance levels. Participants should focus on sustained moves above local highs to validate further expansion while maintaining disciplined stops below the reclaimed moving averages.
Pretty good advice. I'm gonna check and see. I'm gonna add up mine, guys. It's been a really good day. So I'm at I'm not super eager to jump back in on things. So I had on my MyFunded, I added 2 evals, took a really big swing. I think I was like 4 or 5 in queue, and got one halfway, the other one broke. On across my payable ones, I'm at 86.50, so that's a really good day. I tell everybody, those on TikTok as well in the community, don't just take people's numbers for what they say. So these are my accounts. This is my Lucid. These are guaranteed money. I get a payout on Thursday. Again, it will be my 4th payout, and then the next Thursday after that will probably end up pushing me to live. So I didn't need much on those because it's guaranteed money. Have some company accounts that I'm doing PAs for, and so that's all the profits within that I did for my company accounts. And then this is my funded, which is rapid accounts. So that's the broken eval, that's the halfway, and this is fully withdrawable. And so today, that'd be 90% of 5K on that. So would be what would hit my bank. And so I don't really need to push much, right, from there. I'm only going to take the more profits you get, right? Yeah, I didn't hear you, Bobby, if you talk. But the more profitable you get within the day, the less you want to push, right? You don't want to, like, why would I risk that? It's literally guaranteed money because those are both past the buffer in my bank tonight, right? So why would I risk that? And so I'm not saying I won't trade again. I don't trade fearful. Everybody in the room knows that. Even in the pre-market, right, when I was up like 2K, it's like, you know, for both of them, like I was up like 2-3K. That's why I was like, I'm not really gonna stop because if it's there, I'm gonna take it, right? So, but I will be more cautious. I don't think I'm gonna take any more trades until after the development session starts, and then we'll look for some stuff within that. Today was a really good day, guys. You know, today, guys, is the day that if you don't have proper guidance, if you don't have the ability to understand how the market traps retail movement, or you don't have a deep understanding of those things, you probably have had a bad day, right? There's going to be probably quite a bit of people who had a bad day today, right? Because of the fact that we were so bearish in the structure and we broke below our prior high. That should absolutely floor us, right? And a lot of people get caught in that bias, right? And so, you know, for us to capture the move down, capture the move up, plus the sweep, plus the move up, like, so far it's played out pretty close to what I anticipated. Not only through the moves, right, but also
The
in the
market
pre-markets. So
is experiencing a localized pullback as price tests the support confluence
let's
near
let
the
him talk.
1-minute EMA, 200 at 27,174.75, following a rejection from recent highs. This move back toward the key technical pivot indicates a cooling of bullish momentum and a test of buyer conviction, though the broader trend remains supported as long as the price maintains its position above the anchored VWAP at 27134.0. Sentiment: bullish pressure, confidence, 5 out of 10. Reason: price is retreating toward the 1-minute EMA 200, which is acting as a critical support level. The appearance of a red Heikin-Ah-Shi candle on the 1-minute time frame suggests temporary distribution, but the macro structural support levels remain intact. Preventing a bearish reversal at this stage, concerns a failure to hold the 1-minute EMA 200 would signal a deeper correction back toward the anchored VWAP, potentially neutralizing the recent bullish gains. Traders should watch for price stabilization at this support zone to avoid being caught in a false breakdown. Long entry option: a confirmed bounce from the 1-minute EMA 200 at 27,174.75, targeting the recent local high at 27,231.50. Invalidation at 27,165.0. Short entry option: a confirmed breakdown below the 1-minute EMA 200 at 27,174.75, targeting the anchored VWAP at 27134.0. Invalidation at 27190.0. Summary: the market is currently consolidating after its recent push, testing whether buyers can sustain control at key technical levels. Participants should monitor this support area closely, as its resolution will determine if the bullish trend will continue to target higher resistance or if a deeper correction is imminent.
It's good advice. So quickly, let's analyze it. Confirmed bounce off the EMA is what he wanted. You can see we just got that a bounce, right? So what would that would mean on a confirm would be the bounce and then at least a close above these prior highs, preferably VWAP, something in there, right? Confirmed breakdown below. He's not interested in going short unless we break below this. Doesn't really have anything conditionally, right? But he does invalidate it if we jump above 190, which it did. So we haven't quite closed on it, but pretty close. Remember, a lot of his stuff, guys, he's reading all time frames, but it's when it comes to execution, he's more 1 minute, right? Which is supposed to be. So for the short, we mostly invalidated that play for now. For the long, we didn't quite invalidate it. Actually, we validated it more so, right? But you need, he wanted a bounce off of that. So we have the bounce. You know, again, anything below Lisma is really dangerous. I'd love to see it play out, but I'd love to also see it get a little bit higher, right? Before I would jump into that. Keep in mind, guys, we don't want to get overly excited about how far that we've gone up or down, because as long as we stay below 303, we have a risk of dropping really far. But there's a good chance that we're going to try to get to 303, right? Depending if it can hold certain levels. That's mostly what I'm intrigued to see, is can we actually hold some levels. We know that there's a trap level here that's played out really well. A break above 231 would invalidate that trap. We have a lot of trap levels in here. Support level compared to resistance level is pretty significant. And so we'll see if it plays any part, right, or key within that. So let's see if we get our continued push. The macro, we got some dojis. Again, remember it's fighting this level. A close above there is what would give us some pretty good propulsion. A lot of times this likes to go up to that neckline, the 303, but it doesn't really have to, right? We can definitely get some good pulls instead, right? But we do have a lower high, higher low set up with the push, possible bullpen it. So we'll see if that plays out. We just got to watch the micro and see what the micro is actually doing, right? So we have a doji, close above, we push, but we failed to even breach wick that, which typically pulls back. A lot of times that creates a lower low. If we get any kind of push off here with the doji, right, then that could potentially push it up. But let's see how this 200 treats here. That's going to be really the big one for me. So see how it creates that lower low. So now what you would look for is we're going to hit the 200. If we breach that, it's going to come to there. If we get a bounce there,
is currently
it'll reclaim
consolidating
that,
around
right?
the
Pretty
1
hard.
minute EMA 200 at 27176.0, attempting to digest recent gains while remaining supported by the anchored VWAP at 27,136.25, while price is printing green high Kinashi candles. The inability to move decisively above the 1 minute Lisma of 27,221.0 suggests that buying pressure is currently dampened by overhead supply, maintaining a high tension range as price tests its primary bullish structural floor. Sentiment, bullish pressure. Confidence, 5 out of 10. Reason, price is holding above the 1 minute EMA 200, which serves as the immediate threshold for maintaining the current bullish posture. The mixed signals between the localized green candle progression and the failing momentum at the 1 minute Lisma indicate that the market is awaiting a catalyst to pick a definitive direction. Conk. Earns. A lack of expansion despite the reclaim of the 1 minute EMA 200 is a classic sign of buyer fatigue, which could lead to a liquidity sweep below the recent lows. Traders should avoid forcing positions until price clears the local overhead resistance or establishes a firm base above the current support confluence. Long entry option. A confirmed hold and reversal at the 1 minute EMA 200 level of 27,176.0, targeting the recent local high at 27,232.25. Invalidation at 27160.0, short entry option. A confirmed breakdown below the 1 minute EMA 200 of 27,176.0, targeting the anchored VW. AP at 27,136.25. Invalidation at 27,200.0. Summary. The market is in a delicate balance between bullish consolidation and the risk of a deeper retreat toward higher time frame support. Remaining patient for a clear break in either direction will ensure that entries are aligned with the next impulsive phase of market movement.
Yeah, good advice. Because this is critical because we have a head and shoulder forming on our 15 second, right? If this breaks down all the way, then the bears are back in control, right? Or most likely they're coming in. But if we end up invalidating that, the bulls are strong enough to invalidate our micro, right? And so this is going to be a critical level here. So, but not bad advice on that. He doesn't want longs unless we get a hold above this 200, right? That's what he's holding to, which is true. Right. We want to get confirm hold again would be, something above these dojis there. We are below Lisma, which y'all know how I feel about that. So wouldn't surprise me if we don't kind of pocket here a little bit. But I also want to see how this structure plays, right? If we get a jump or do we play out? Because if we play this out, right, then the bears are back in control. And we're likely going to range in this area or possibly drop, right? So we know we can come all the way back to 41 because that would be internal from the macro there. So now we just want to see, does the 200 win or is this pattern going to win? It's really what it boils down to right now. So let's see. So we know that we are below a pretty good level, but we have a hammer, a couple hammers there. Do we get the close below or do we get the close back above, right? So far we're sweeping more low. So that's a breach of the 200, but let's see if we get a reclaim of it, or do we just get that that deep pull? Again, from the macro side of it, it looks like it wants to come down here, but we're also halfway. So any kind of sweep there would make sense, but any kind of push in here, right, would give us a pretty good push. So let's see. The head and shoulders is playing out. See that? So we are playing out on our head and shoulders. How deep this wants to go, I guess we're going to see. How deep this goes really matters, guys. Critical. Because if this gets a low, it's sweeping all the way to Lisma. If this holds a higher low at any point and comes up and reclaims this, it's going to jump. So let's watch it. Almost 10:30. Well, let's see. So we're getting a nice little bounce off the VWAP that I got there. This is the first trap area, right? So we're kind of in it. It would be kind of cool if we can just create a consolidation within these trap areas. Would be nice. So just like we did here, right? We're losing the 200. A reclaim would push us, and it would validate the consolidation area. If we can breach this 141, it's a long way down, right? So let's see if we get the reclaim or do we get the drop. So we want to make sure it's doing bearish things, right? So here's our low. We are dojiing right below it, so it's still normal. Any kind of push there is not normal because for a drop, right? Because it wouldn't reclaim that, right? So we want to see if it's going to reclaim that, or are we going to get another pull? So which is critical, right? Because Lisma's curling 200. Kind of all set within, right? So let's look and see. Notice the volume slowing down. The market don't know. Like, are we gonna drop this, or are we going back up? All right, they're trying to decide right now. So we're coming into that 41. This is a critical area, guys. A bounce into 41 will push us back up. If we lose that 41, for us to sweep pretty far down is a good probability. So let's see what the micro does. We have a little bit of a trend that we're following. Remember, we're still head and shoulders on the micro, right? So we can kind of watch that trend. Coming into some support, so careful if you're taking shorts, right? Plus the 41 can jump pretty good. It looks like we got 08 of there, but there's some pretty good support areas that are pretty critical. So let's see how this plays out. If we get any kind of buyers coming in around that 41, or do they want to send this all the way back? If you're green, guys, you might want to lower volume or just stop, right? Or sit out, because it's setting up an area that to me looks like it could go either way, right? We could sweep this really hard quickly north, or we could absolutely floor this. We could do both, right? We could floor it and then just sweep up, or we can sweep up and then floor it. So it's in an area that really could go either way, which I know is not ideal for guidance, right? But it's the truth. See that push? Now let's see, the push is there. That's what I was expecting. Look at, he don't like it at all. He's like, I'm sitting out. The market's unpredictable. Stop it. This dude's listening to me. I literally just said I don't like it. We could go up, we could go down. It's a trappy range. I'd sit out. And this dude's like, market's unpredictable right now. I'm gonna sit out. That is so funny. Come on, guys. You gotta laugh at that a little bit in here. That's a little bit uncanny. Most of you guys in here are probably like, dude, I'm done for the day.
He's in your mic. He's in your computer.
This dude's probably, yeah, he probably found a wormhole in there somewhere. I don't know. All the data logs we have. He's just like, what's Nick saying? Unpredictable? Yeah, man. Hey, the market's kind of unpredictable right now. That's so funny, man. See this push though, guys? And we don't know if it's gonna hold, but we did get a breach of here and a breach wick. Rear back is normal. These lows and these highs are critical. It did hit that and tap, come up, a close above there, should sweep up. Right, that's what it should do to retest that Lisma area. So let's see if we get it. We're still kind of in that rear back, right? Man, the volume just straight died, didn't it? Okay, so we got a structure break. We're retesting. Let's see how that acts. If this is going to try to pull back up, right, I need some kind of buy pressure. Hammers, something, right? If anything, on the 1 minute, we're inverted
is
hammer.
currently hovering at a critical technical juncture, resting directly on the 1 minute EMA 200 of 27,176.0, which now acts as the final line of defense for the bullish thesis. Despite the green high Kinoshi candle color, the failure of price to sustain a move above the 1 minute LS MA of 27,211.50 suggests that buyers are struggling to overcome immediate overhead distribution, leaving the structure vulnerable to a potential breakdown. Sentiment, bearish pressure, confidence, 5 out of 10. Reason, price has slipped below the 1 minute Lisma and is testing the 1 minute EMA 200, indicating that the recent bullish momentum is actively fading. The bearish shift in the 15 seconds Lisma slope further confirms that short term control is tilting towards sellers as they test support levels. Concerns, a sustained close below the 1 minute EMA 200 would likely signal a failure of the current recovery and could trigger an accelerated move toward the anchored VWAP at 27,138.50. Traders should remain wary of the market's inability to reclaim higher levels, as this behavior often precedes a deeper structural retrace. Long entry option, a confirmed bounce and hold at the 1 minute EMA 200 level of 27,176.0, targeting the overhead 1 minute Lisma at 27211.50. Invalidation at 27,145.0. Short entry option, a confirmed breakdown and close below the 1 minute EMA 200 of 27,176.0, targeting the anchored VWAP at 27,138.50. Invalidation at 27,195.0. Summary, the market is at a fragile turning point where the current support is under heavy pressure from overhead supply. Caution is advised, as a clean resolution of this pivot level will determine if the buyers can reclaim control or if the market is headed for a deeper correction.
Yeah, he's not wrong, guys. This is a huge area, because if this can double tap off of a support and push, that's going to be a big push. But if we breach this, guys, like I said, for us to go test Lisma at this point is not out of character. So we're doing a little market maker slide I always kind of refer to here, right, where we kind of squeeze that area. But this 141 is going to be critical. Absolutely critical. So let's see if we get a higher low double tap to push us back above this, or does this want to break down right within there. It's kind of where we're at with it. So we are getting a hammer. See that on the 1 minute? So we're doji with a hammer. Doesn't really scream bearish yet, but let's look and see what the micro is doing. We got a couple hurdles to get through. We are 10:30, guys, so for the open session we have a little bit longer, but Let's see what this does. If we create a secondary hammer, that's going to be interesting on that. So again, we run the risk of running all the way back to 109, guys, because that is our 5-minute Lisma within. So we don't want to lose focus on that. So right now I'm just trying to see how does it treat this 141 area, because this is a very big area on the 1 hour. So watch the DOM and just see, are we getting any kind of bounces, pressure, anything that supports that it wants to bounce through there, or if anything short of that, right, we're going to try to squeeze through. So we are internal as long as we stay above there anyways. There's the push. Let's see if we get the sweep to Lisma and then the bounce, or we just full board drop. So if you notice, remember I talked about 303. I kind of suspected that we would get there. We still can. You know, for us to push and get a pull within here is just well within what it can do, even if it still wants to try to go up. But we'll see, right? So we just swept it. See the DOM jump that we just got there, guys? Pretty good DOM jump right off that 41. So we're doji. We're still kind of in that, I call it like a micro maker slide, right? It's where they break a structure and then just slide it down, right, for stop lines. But let's see if the micro wants to support any kind of push, or if it's going. But we did get a little DOM jump there. So they're definitely trying to come in, but the bears are a little stronger right now. But they trying. Let's see.
I took a bounce off of that 41.
Nice. Yeah, little quick scalps, man. It's the bears are definitely coming in, but we're coming into a really big support area. So guys, again, I would expect if we get full breakdown of the 41, maybe 107, somewhere in this range, right? It would hit
The market
and jump.
has decisively broken below the 1-minute EMA 200 at 27175.0, signaling a clear shift in control toward the sellers as price now tests the anchored VWAP at 27139.
He don't like it. He said, nah, the market. So he does his TA, guys, kind of in pieces, and so if anywhere in that TA he don't like it, he'll cut himself off like that and then just say, never mind. It's kind of like, think of it like a trader changing their mind, right? If you will. So let's see how this reacts to this Lisma here. This 5-minute Lisma is going to be critical, guys. Absolutely critical. Very critical as to what we're going to do. Gotta see how it treats this Lisma. Getting some good pressure off of it. Now what I want to see is, are we going to break this Lisma and we're going to go for a lower low, or are we going to get an actual bounce, right? We need to watch this micro. So we had a full collapse in there. Coming into an area of possible support, guys, anywhere in here, so be really careful. But we're getting that full pull back into the Lisma. We've already breached the Lisma. So I want to see if we're going to stay below that, or we're going to retest it and try to pull. That's the only question we got right now. So right now we got no bullish pressure, just dropping. So let's see if we get any reclaim, or is it just going to keep on going? So now Lisma becomes critical on the micro, right? Because if we get a break here with a reclaim, it's going to jump hard, right? But as of right now, it's full board south. So we just came back to our ORB. This is going to be a huge test right here. This ORB is going to be really big, guys. As to if we're going to get any kind of reprieve from this, or we're going to get a full actual bearish drop from that failure up above. Nothing on the micro yet. We're just pulling.
I'm showing the ORB at 036. Does that sound right to you, Nick?
This one's got it at 69 from this candle here. No. Why is this 915? Why did it measure that high to that low? Because that's got it at 930. Oh, I'm sorry. Duh. I was thinking 915 to 930 when you said that. But yeah, 930 is the low. Right there. So, yeah. It's always the first 15 minutes of that low. So, starting to get that pressure. Little bullish pressure right off the daily bottom, guys. That's the daily low. See that? That's right where we bounced before, so that's going to be a critical area. If we can significantly bounce there, right, it's going to just go. But if it can breach that, it's going to be a very bearish day, and at that point, you want to kind of sit out. So, deep pullback from there. We ended up collapsing that 141, which is what created that lower low, right? So we're definitely full bearish with that. The only thing really holding it up now is going to be this prior day. So we have a doji, high, low, close above, we're going up, close below, we're going down. All right, so let's just watch it.
The market exhibits clear bearish structural intent across all time frames as price maintains a consistent sequence of lower highs and lower lows while trading below major indicator-based resistance levels. The current position within a macro downtrend confirms that selling pressure dominates, making any attempt to establish a support base highly vulnerable to further downside expansion. Sentiment, bearish pressure. Confidence, 8 out of 10. Reason, price is trading below the 1-minute anchored VWAP at 27,138.25 and the 5 minutes Lisma at 27,103.25, signaling persistent bearish control. The negative slope on the 5 minutes Lisma confirms that momentum remains heavily weighted toward the downside. Concerns. Price is currently approaching macro support at 27,014, which could trigger a temporary bounce if it fails to break.
Yes, it can.
Through decisively, a failure to see immediate expansion below current levels may indicate a period of consolidation within this recent range. Long entry option, none. Short entry option, a confirmed breakdown and hold below the macro support level of 27,014.0, targeting the next liquidity level at 26,903.75 with an invalidation level at 27,083.25. Summary: the market is currently under strong bearish pressure, with price failing to reclaim key indicator levels, suggesting that further downward movement is likely. Traders should focus on confirmed breakdowns below established macro support zones rather than attempting to catch a reversal in this climate.
See that push from the prior daily, guys? I don't know if anybody was capturing some of this. So it's retesting the 5-minute Lisma on the macro or micro. If this can breach it, which it just did, and a close above, right, that's going to be a big reclaim within that. Remember, anything all the way to 135 is still flat top, right? So we can definitely wiggle a bit. Just kind of looking at something. So that's a prior daily bounce, right? We got a double bottom. I'm interested to see, guys, if we get a full pull again, because last time we did a double bottom like this and we held that neckline, mind you, we could get a pull to hold that neckline, and it came up and closed above. That would also put us a close above. Actually, we already closed above the doji, which tends to be a pretty good bullish reversal. So I want to see if that actually holds like that within, right? So this neckline is going to be really big for any possibility of going back up with any kind of strength. So, but it's done that before many times, so I want to see if it holds that. There it goes. See the hold on the double bottom right there almost perfectly. Now it needs a close above there, and then that would be in line with what it's done in the past, right? So let's see. Now we know the 5-minute Lisma is huge, so that reclaim would be pretty violent if it gets it. So it's going to test it right now. We know the 1 minute is already a close above the doji. And we lost the ORB and reclaimed it, right? So anybody who trades the ORB, right, who set that as their stop down there, likely got stopped out right now. So this next couple micro candles are huge for me, guys. Watch the pressure. The DOM is pressuring north. See the push? We get this breakout. It usually is pretty violent, so I want to see if it plays out there. See that violence? Let's see if we get continuation from it. A little bit of a sweep. That's our rear back. It's just testing the low here. So this is a very, very critical spot, guys, for this. Because we are double bottom on the micro with a hold with the breach here. So where this
has
holds
undergone
is
a sharp
huge.
structural breakdown, decisively failing the 1-minute EMA 200 at 27,166.50 and the anchored VWAP at 27,136.25, effectively ending the previous bullish recovery attempt, with price now trading beneath these major technical pivots and the 1-minute Lisma at 27,168.0. The bias has shifted firmly to the downside as sellers reclaim control of the macro landscape. Sentiment, bearish pressure, confidence, 9 out of 10. Reason, the breach of the anchored VWAP and the 1-minute EMA 200 represents a high conviction structural failure that confirms the resumption of the broader downtrend. Price is currently trapped beneath all major overhead moving averages, leaving little room for immediate bullish reconciliation. Concerns. The proximity to the 5 minutes Lisma of 27,099.0 may provide a brief floor. However, the aggressive slope of the 15 seconds Lisma suggests that further downside momentum is likely. Avoid long positions as the market is clearly in a distribution phase. Long entry option, none. Short entry option. A confirmed rejection of the macro support now serving as resistance at 27,136.25, targeting the...
I'm going to mute him, guys. He doesn't really see the daily low. So you got to take that into consideration, right? We are in this daily low. You can't ignore that, guys. So how this handles outside of this daily low is going to be huge, because we are still double bottom and still trying to hold that neckline, right? But we still got to get a close back above there to reclaim anything up here. So we are below Lisma and the 200, so for us to come up and kind of kiss that area up there again, plus we broke the 141, so for us to come up and retest that again is very possible, right? We have a doji, close above, and a hammer. And that hammer, if we can get a close above, it's going to go up, close below, going to go down, all right? And so let's just keep watching the micro, guys. It is 10:47, so we're going to be shifting to our development session here in a bit. So if you guys have any questions, be sure to ask. So we do have a little head and shoulders into our double bottom. Guess we're going to see which one wins. You guys see that momentum? Holy cow. Bulls are coming in, but bears just absorbed it pretty well. Let's see. Big indecision area, right? Hammers, dojis, all over the place. The only thing to me looking here is as long as we hold above this low, guys, we're gonna spring more north than south most likely, but we gotta see. I gotta see if this little micro double bottom plays. Well, guys, anything questions, anything, let me know as we get ready to pivot into our development session, because kind of watching this structure, so I don't want to pivot off of it too much. This is going to be a big play on what this does, right? If the double bottom holds or the head and shoulders breaks. We did get a sweep push. Doesn't really support crazy bullish yet, right? But any kind of high or low held within here with a big push will go. So, but we are staying below the 5-minute Lisma, which typically is not super bullish. So it's a very critical area right here. See how we're getting the pull? That's another retest of the daily low, guys. Going to be critical here. So the double bottom on that did break down, so this has to hold. Any kind of sweep here is going to be pretty violent. So let's see what the micro does as we approach the daily low again. To me, we pressured it pretty quickly. We'll see what he thinks here. Yeah, his point on that, or his call on that short was freaking spot on. So we now breached the daily low, which we've done before, right? Now we want to see if this is going to breach and get a pullback, right? Guys, any questions for me? It's a tricky day, so that's why I was mentioning towards the end there, if not to push too hard, guys. No questions? Good deal. I see some people